While it's true that crime doesn't pay, some of the world's wealthiest people are criminals. Not to encourage criminality, but primarily because it does pay some nice money. In some countries, drug lords, murderers, and corrupt officials hold influential positions and almost run the entire country's economy. People are living well and contentedly through a life of crime who have been labeled as drug lords and are on the watch lists of every nation globally. So who are these wealthy criminals? What kind of a life do they have? And where are they now? Let's get it on. Number 10. El Chapo. $3 billion. El Chapo, or Joaquin Arquivaldo Guzman Loera, as his real name goes, the notorious former head of the Sinaloa cartel, is incarcerated in the U.S. and serving a life sentence. He entered Forbes' list of the world's richest person in 2009 and was one of the largest cocaine smugglers to the U.S. As the leader of the Sinaloa cartel and one of the most influential and infamous drug lords in the world today, El Chapo was a Mexican drug lord and seen as untouchable until his arrest in 1993. Joaquin's cartel specialized in trading cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and ecstasy, most of which were sold to the United States. He had a reported net worth of $3 billion and is well known for his numerous prison breaks. El Chapo has been detained several times and imprisoned, but he has escaped each time, most recently in July 2015. After being recaptured in 2016, he is now in a supermax prison in Colorado, United States. Number 9. Carlos Lehder. $3.05 billion. He co-founded the Medellin cartel and was a drug lord in Colombia. He controlled a vast network for transporting cocaine on Norman's Cay Island in the Bahamas. He's also famous for his establishment of the paramilitary group Muerta y Secuestradores, which sought to exact revenge on insurgents who had kidnapped cartel families and members. Moreover, he established the National Latin Movement, a political group with neo-Nazi leanings that sought to undermine the extradition agreement between Colombia and the United States. However, his collapse occurred when he attracted attention to Norman Cay's operations by publicly paying Bahamas officials, leading to charges of drug trafficking, kidnapping, and murder. Lehder is reportedly still serving a total of 135 years in addition to the 55 years he was initially sentenced to without parole. But it's also believed that Lehder participates in the Witness Protection Program because he consented to testify against Manuel Noriega. Nevertheless, even if he has a net worth of around $3.05 billion, he's currently being detained in an American maximum security facility. Number 8. The Orejuela Bros, $3.39 billion. The Cali cartel was founded by Jose Santa Cruz Londoño and brothers Gilberto Rodriguez Orejuelo and Miguel Rodriguez Orejuelo. Cali's main advantage over the Colombian towns is its access to the Pacific coast. The brothers started with marijuana trafficking and later added cocaine. By employing bribes to further their goals, the Cali cartel distinguished itself from the brutal Medellin cartel. When the Colombian National Police searched Gilberto's residence, he was taken into custody. Gilberto has already eluded the cops by hiding in a bathroom cupboard with an oxygen tank. He received a 15-year prison sentence after being found guilty. However, he was temporarily set free before being arrested again. Due to his prostate and colon cancer, he is asked for an early release from prison but later died in May 2022. Miguel Rodriguez Orejuelo, his brother, is likewise incarcerated in a federal prison in Pennsylvania. We rank them among the most prosperous drug lords because despite being unable to enjoy their enormous money, they consented to a plea agreement with American authorities that granted more than 24 family members immunity. Number 7. Khun Sa, $5.65 billion. Khun Sa, commonly known as the Opium King, was the head of the Shan military and a drug lord. When Khun Sa retreated into Burma at the end of the Chinese Civil War, he rose to fame in the 1960s. He started assembling a small militia of soldiers who would later develop into an army fighting for the Shan state. He subsequently got involved in the opium and heroin trade since he controlled their manufacture and movement throughout Southeast Asia. Khun Sa eventually had his drug enterprise indicted by the US, at which point he turned himself in to the Burmese authorities to avoid extradition. He was then never genuinely restrained. He stopped operating and relocated to Yangon, where he lived luxuriously with his girlfriends. His passing occurred when political unrest and economic hardship intensified in Burma. It remains to be seen whether it will be interpreted as signifying a shift in time away from anarchy and desperation. He left behind 5 boys and 3 daughters. He was born on February 17, 1934, and passed away on October 26, 2007, with a net worth of more than $5.65 billion at the time. Number 6. Jose Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha, $5.65 billion. Jose was a renowned drug lord from Colombia who led the Medellin cartel along with Pablo Escobar and the Ochoa Brothers. At the height of his criminal career, Rodriguez was regarded as one of the most accomplished drug traffickers in the entire globe. He was listed in 1988's Forbes magazine's annual list of world's billionaires. With a net worth of $5.65 billion, he reportedly gave money to rebuild structures, and some Pacho residents consider him a public benefactor. However, his enemies eventually worked together to bring him down. The Cali cartel compromised his company while the rest provided the government with intelligence reports. Gacha's locations were discovered through informants and eventually a sizable raid was conducted. Gacha was killed by machine gun fire from a helicopter. He was assassinated by police at age 42. On Sunday, December 17, 1989, thousands of mourners filled the streets of Pacho for Rodriguez Gacha's funeral. But since only close family members were permitted into the funeral, about 3,000 people gathered around the cemetery. Number 5. The Ochoa Brothers, $6.78 billion. The deadly Medellin cartel was mainly composed of Jorge, Juan David, and Fabio Ochoa in the later 1980s. They three were valued at $6.78 billion. The brothers were well known for working together to produce, distribute, and market cocaine. The Ochoa brothers were formerly associated with a family that ran restaurants and raised cattle. In the 1970s, they started moving into the drug trade, and Jorge established his cartel. The Colombian family was involved in numerous arrests, indictments, and extradition attempts in multiple nations. By 1984, their power had become so weak that the cartel declared that each extradition of a Colombian would result in the murder of 10 judges from that country. Number 4. Dawood Ibrahim, $7.57 billion. Dawood Ibrahim is an Indian native of Mumbai and the founder of the Indian crime organization D Company. He was designated a global terrorist in 2003, and by 2011 he was ranked third on the list of the 10 most wanted criminals in the world. He is accused of murder, targeted killing, extortion, drug trafficking, and terrorism. He is also thought to be in charge of the Hawala money transmission mechanism. It's a non-formal method of value transfer that relies on natural cash flow within a network of money brokers. His organization shares networks with Al-Qaeda and operates in India, South Asia, Africa, the UK, Western Europe, and the Middle East. Ibrahim's prosecution in India has been the target of numerous coordinated attempts. However, he still has Pakistani passports and resides there, and sources suggest that he may have moved his operations to the Pakistani-Afghanistan border. Because it threatened and extorted various studios and films, his D Company has also been connected to the Bollywood industry. Nevertheless, it's believed that he has a net worth of $7.57 billion. Number 3. Semion Mogilevich, $10 billion. With a net worth of $10 billion, the 76-year-old is thought to be living in freedom with his 3 children in Moscow. He is the boss of all other bosses in the Russian mafia. His primary sources of income were weapons trafficking, contract killings, and extortion. In the style of an American mafia family, he swiftly established a highly organized criminal organization with 250 members, many of whom are his relatives. He is referred to as the boss of bosses of most Russian mafia syndicates in the world by agencies in the European Union and the United States. The Federal Bureau of Investigation calls him the most dangerous mobster in the world and believes he is in charge of a vast criminal empire. Number 2. Amado Carrillo Fuentes, $28 billion. Following the death of his boss, Rafael Aguilar Guajardo, he assumed control of the Juarez cartel. And since Amado Carrillo operated a sizable fleet of planes to transport drugs, he earned the nickname El Señor de los Cielos, the Lord of the Skies. He was renowned for using Colombia as money laundering to fund his fleet. Evidently, while in his office, Carrillo allegedly established a multi-billion-dollar drug empire. It was predicted that he may have earned over $28 billion in income throughout his career. And then when Morelos state residents started silent protest marches against Governor Jorge Carrillo Olea and his alleged complicity in drug-related killings, authorities in the United States and Mexico were under pressure to apprehend Carrillo. This kind of pressure may have persuaded Carrillo Fuentes to undergo facial plastic surgery and stomach surgery liposuction on July 4, 1997 at Santa Monica Hospital in Mexico City. But he passed away during the procedure due to difficulties reportedly brought on by either a specific drug or a broken respirator. Nevertheless, Carrillo received a plentiful, pricey funeral in Guamuchilito, Sinaloa. Number 1. Pablo Escobar, $33 billion. Pablo was the founder and sole boss of the Medellin cartel and a Colombian drug lord and narco-terrorist. Escobar, known as the King of Cocaine, amassed an estimated net worth of $33 billion by the time of his death, which is equivalent to $70 billion as of 2022. His drug cartel had complete control over the importation of cocaine into the United States in the 1980s and the early 90s. The richest drug lord to ever exist. Escobar built or acquired various homes and safe houses after becoming affluent, with the Hacienda Nápoles acquiring a widespread reputation. Escobar made the Forbes' billionaires list of the world's richest people 7 years in a row beginning in 1987 and peaked at number 7 in 1989. In the late 1980s, Colombian authorities seized some of Escobar's enormous fleet, including 142 planes, 20 helicopters, 32 yachts, and 141 homes and offices. He also owned a 6,500 square foot pink waterfront mansion at 5860 North Bay Road in Miami Beach, Florida. In 1991, Escobar turned himself to the authorities and was given a 5-year prison sentence on several charges. However, he made a deal with Colombian President Cesar Gaviria to avoid extradition in exchange for being allowed to serve his sentence in his own privately constructed prison, La Catedral. When officials attempted to transfer Escobar to a more conventional prison facility in 1992, he fled and went into hiding, sparking a nationwide search. The Medellin cartel disintegrated as a result, and Escobar was shot and killed by Colombian National Police in 1993, one day after his 44th birthday in his hometown. Well, that's all for today. Which was your favorite drug lord? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more of our luxurious content, and why not click on another video showing now. This is The Luxurious. Talk to you in the next video.